he laughs. And he's laughing at me when that happens. What do you...
If you had any money to bet, you should most certainly put money on that. I can't believe that you lost all of your bets.
Okay. You can believe it. We talked about it yesterday. You're now just rubbing it in that I went 0 for 11. You're just really just rubbing it in that I went 0 for 11.
I went 0 for 5. It makes you feel any better.
No, it doesn't. Because I know you and I know your level of responsibility, and I know that while you're mad you went 0 for 5, you're not actually feeling a lot of pain. You're not like, oh, not going to be able to, not getting my nails done for a few weeks. You're curious if my fancy car payment's going to go through. No, you're fine. I'm moving money around. My wife that you adore so much, I'm having to do things like send texts behind, like, can somebody send me this? There's a lot going on, Joy. There's a lot going on in the Wright household. Why do you think I picked up these extra shifts? I had a Fox. I'm like, hey, I need time and a half or something. I gotta keep this going. Speaking of money, Joy, there's 3 ways an employer can show respect to an employee. And I think Jadakiss said it once: money, power, respect. And Russell Wilson already has the money. He doesn't have the power. And I think he's looking for the respect. And there have been these kind of odd rumblings. Like, is Russell Wilson happy in Seattle? Could Russell Wilson be available? Brandon Marshall, on a really brilliantly produced, wonderfully broadcast television show called First Things First, that's on from 7:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. every day on this very network, a few weeks ago, just kind of like almost in passing, said, I'm hearing that Russell Wilson could potentially be unhappy in Seattle. And it was an odd thing because Brandon Marshall had played in Seattle. Seemingly he has a good relationship with Russell. But that was like the first I had heard of it since on this show a year ago, Colin Cowherd was floating the idea that, do Russell Wilson and Ciara, who he inexplicably always calls Ciara, I don't know why that has, it's just like in his head, are they happy in Seattle or do they want to go somewhere else? But then Seattle gave Russell Wilson the money. They made him the highest paid quarterback in football. And now we're hearing, Jason Lockenfora tweeted last night, he's frustrated about the Seahawks' inability to protect him, that maybe Russell Wilson wants a little more power and a little more respect as far as a seat at the table. He was on this morning with Dan Patrick, and here's what he said about that.
I think that ultimately, for me personally, I think that I want to be able to be involved because at the end of the day, it's your legacy, it's your team's legacy, it's the guys you get to go into the huddle with. And at the end of the day, those guys you got to trust.
Are you involved in personnel decisions? Have you been involved in personnel decisions?
Not as much. I don't, I think that,
do you want to be involved, Russ?
Yeah, I think it helps. I think it helps to be involved more. But I think that dialogue should happen more often.
So that's pretty telling from a guy who never says anything. From a guy who every interview I've ever seen him do, he finishes with "Go Hawks." From a guy who literally just won the Walter Payton Man of the Year award and is as respected across the league as anybody and as team first as anybody across the league. That is Russell Wilson, not privately, not leaking to a friendly writer who will source it vaguely. Russell Wilson going on camera saying, yeah, I'd like to be involved, and no, I'm not involved. He also then was asked about the reports that teams called about his availability, something that Brandon Marshall put a fine point on this morning on my show, on our show, I should say, when he said the Saints, the Bears, the Jets, the Raiders, and the Dolphins have all shown varying levels of interest in acquiring Russell Wilson. Russell was asked about trade rumors, and here's what he said to that.
I definitely believe they've gotten calls for sure. I think that, I think anytime you're, a player that, tries to produce every week and, has done it for, consistently, I think people are going to call for sure. And I think it's part of the process.
Yeah, but you're a franchise quarterback. You're a Hall of Fame quarterback. You're not available, are you?
Well, I'm not sure if I'm available or not. That's a Seahawks question.
So that right there is a really interesting answer. And I'm not criticizing Russell Wilson here, but I am saying that I think in happier times with Seattle, this would have been Russell Wilson's very polished, very clear, very calculated answer. Well, of course, it's flattering to be wanted, but I can tell you my plan is to play for one team only, the Seattle Seahawks. I never want to go anywhere, and I would be shocked if they are even considering trading me, because this is the only place I ever want to play. I don't think that's how Russell Wilson feels, and I do not blame him. And there are two different avenues to walk here, but they take us to the same place. The first avenue is the respect, which is if he wants a seat at the table, give him a seat at the table. What I think some of these franchises don't understand is that if you are the Houston Texans, do you know what everyone's job with the Texans should have been the last 3 months? Make sure Deshaun Watson's happy. Oh, he likes the equipment manager and somebody in the building wants to fire him, as happened this weekend. Not only equipment manager are you not fired, you're Deshaun's buddy. You can have a raise. You can have a new office. What do you want? And the same goes with Seattle. Your franchise must be kept happy. Your franchise must want to be there. That is the whole purpose of the NFL, is to get a player such as Russell Wilson. So once you have him, you hold on to him for dear life. You are happy and count your blessings that for the better part of a decade, there was no extra drama surrounding him. But the moment there is, though, you deal with it. That's your job. But here's the other thing. And this is where it gets to the modern NFL, and Kevin Clark mentioned it. I don't think Russell Wilson would want or demand a seat at the table if every time he sat down or seat at the table's seat at the table's what I'm trying to say, if he had full faith that the Seahawks were as all in as the teams against whom he's competing. But think about Russell Wilson's experience in the NFL and what he has seen work. He comes into the NFL. The Seahawks made a very bold move. They had signed Matt Flynn 2 weeks into practices. Nope, Russell's our guy. They were rewarded with 2 trips to the Super Bowl. Right before Seattle started going to the Super Bowl, who went? The Niners. You know how? Oh, Colin Kaepernick, he's a backup? Nope, he's the starter. He gives us our best chance. We'll make that change midway through the year, make the Super Bowl the next year, and be, for a short period of time, one of the 2 best teams in the conference. Keep going. Philly. Oh, we don't have a quarterback? We'll trade multiple first-round picks to move up, to get a quarterback. During the year, we will be super aggressive at the trade deadline. We will borrow from tomorrow's cap to pay today. We'll win a Super Bowl. The Rams. Oh, we don't have a quarterback? We'll trade multiple first-round picks to get him. Oh, he stinks under Jeff Fisher. Jeff Fisher, you're out. Sean McVay, you're in. Oh, we need more weapons. Brandon Cooks. We'll trade a first-round pick for you. Go, go, go. They all went to the Super Bowl. The Chiefs. Chiefs make the playoffs with Alex Smith. They win the division year after year. Not good enough. Trade up for Mahomes. Go, trade for Frank Clark from Seattle, by the way. Go, go, go. Win a Super Bowl. Make another one. Tampa. We're not satisfied. Go get Brady. Trade up in the drafts for Wirfs. Go get Grunt. Go get AB. Go, go, go. That's everyone that has made the Super Bowl in Russell Wilson's career as a star quarterback, with the exception of the Patriots. All the other Super Bowl appearances I didn't mention were made by the Patriots, who are doing things their own way. Seattle, one wonders if it fancies itself a bit of the Patriots of the Northwest. Players play, coaches coach. We're building something long-term. We're building something sustainable. We're building a dynasty. The problem is there's no dynasty. They made the Super Bowl in Russell's second year and won it. They made it back in year 3 and haven't been back since, and haven't been particularly close since. And Russell Wilson is watching, I would imagine with frustration, as the Rams in the division say, nope, trade for Stafford. We need to get better. The Niners. Oh, I left out the Niners. They're another team that made the Super Bowl. What did they do? They went and traded for Jimmy Garoppolo. They kept pushing. They watched the Niners make the Super Bowl. Watch the Cardinals spend a first-round pick on a quarterback after 1 year. Nope, not going to be good enough. We're going to change everything up. And Seattle is just standing pat. And I think Russell Wilson is sitting there saying, guys, let me get involved. Because this idea of just I'll bail you out, I'll get sacked 20